Dr. Smith, a renowned physician, walked into the hospital room where his patient, John, lay bedridden. "Good morning, John. How are you feeling today?" he asked with a smile. John groaned, "I'm feeling terrible, document. This illness is getting the best of me." Dr. Smith nodded sympathetically. "I understand, John. But I want you to know that your attitude plays a big role in your recovery. You need to stay positive and focused." Just then, Nurse Emily burst into the room, her bright smile lighting up the space. "Good morning, everyone. Isn't it a beautiful day today?" John couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm. "It certainly is, Nurse Emily," he said, his spirits lifting slightly. Dr. Smith nodded in approval. "You see, John, Nurse Emily here is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Her positive attitude is contagious." Nurse Emily beamed with pride. "That's what I'm here for, Doc. To help my patients feel better, not just physically, but emotionally too." As the days passed, John found himself looking forward to Nurse Emily's daily visits. She would chat with him, listen to his concerns, and even share funny stories to make him laugh. Dr. Smith noticed the change in John's demeanor and nodded in approval. "You see, John, I told you that your attitude would make all the difference. And with Nurse Emily's help, you're on the road to recovery." John smiled, feeling a sense of gratitude towards the doctor and nurse. "Thanks, document. And thanks, Nurse Emily. You've both been a huge help." As John's health improved, he began to notice the impact Nurse Emily had on the other patients in the hospital. She would flit from room to room, spreading joy and positivity wherever she went. One day, John asked Dr. Smith, "Doc, how does Nurse Emily do it? She always seems so happy and energetic, even in the face of sickness and suffering." Dr. Smith smiled. That's a great question, John. You see, Nurse Emily has a special gift. She knows that medicine alone is not enough to cure the body. She understands that the mind and spirit need healing too." Just then, Nurse Emily burst into the room, carrying a big bouquet of flowers. "Good morning, everyone. I brought some sunshine to brighten up your day." John and Dr. Smith couldn't help but laugh at her antics. "Nurse Emily, you're a breath of fresh air," Dr. Smith exclaimed. As the days went by, John watched as Nurse Emily helped patient after patient, using her kindness, empathy, and positive attitude to lift their spirits and aid their recovery. He realized that he had been so focused on his own illness that he had forgotten the power of human connection and support. John's stay in the hospital came to an end, and he was finally well enough to go home. As he packed his bags, he felt a sense of gratitude towards Dr. Smith and Nurse Emily. "Thank you both for taking such good care of me," he said, his voice filled with emotion. Dr. Smith smiled and patted him on the back. "You're welcome, John. It was our pleasure to help you get better." Nurse Emily gave him a big hug. "Don't forget to take care of yourself, John. And always remember, a positive attitude goes a long way." John left the hospital feeling grateful and uplifted. He knew that he would never forget the lessons he had learned from Dr. Smith and Nurse Emily. As he settled back into his routine at home, John made a conscious effort to spread positivity and kindness wherever he went. He volunteered at a local soup kitchen, visited friends who were going through tough times, and even started a blog to share his story and inspire others. Years went by, and John's blog became a popular destination for people seeking inspiration and hope. He received messages from all over the world, thanking him for his stories and his positivity. One day, John received an email from a reader who was struggling with a serious illness. The reader had been inspired by John's story and was seeking advice on how to stay positive during difficult times. John was touched by the email and decided to respond personally. He shared his own experiences and offered words of encouragement, just as Nurse Emily had done for him. As he hit send, John felt a sense of purpose wash over him. He realized that his journey had come full circle, from patient to inspiration, all thanks to Nurse Emily's kindness. John's email sparked a chain reaction of positivity, inspiring the reader to pay it forward and help others in need. And so, the ripple effect of Nurse Emily's kindness continued to spread, touching hearts and lives around the world. Years later, John received a surprise visit from Nurse Emily herself. She had heard about his blog and the impact it had made, and she wanted to see the man behind the words. John was overjoyed to see his old friend, and they spent hours catching up and reminiscing about their time in the hospital. Nurse Emily was proud of the man John had become and the positivity he had spread. As they parted ways, Nurse Emily smiled and said, "You know, John, kindness is like a stone thrown into a pond. It creates ripples that spread far and wide, touching lives in ways we may never even know." John nodded, his heart full of gratitude. "You're the one who threw that stone, Nurse Emily. And I'm forever grateful." The end.